Good evening to you from the sports desk. The world of boxing is today mourning the death of former two-weight world champion and one of the sport's most popular fighters, Ricky Hatton, who passed away at the age of 46 earlier today. To chat more about his life and career, we're joined by British boxing journalist and podcaster Jamie Bourne. Jamie, a very good afternoon and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Jamie, do we know what are the circumstances surrounding Ricky Hatton's passing earlier today?
Unfortunately, we don't have any sort of further details other than that he was found at his home and it isn't being treated as suspicious by the police. Ricky has had kind of ongoing battles with mental health and depression, post-fighting career. So I think people are kind of drawing conclusions to that. But I think for the family's sake, it's probably best not to speculate at the moment. But it's not being treated as suspicious or anything like that. So it'll be something health-related or potentially mental health-related.
And I mean, looking back at his career, this is a man who traded blows with some of the best in the world. What do you think his legacy will be, now that after his untimely passing?
Yeah, I think, just away from his achievements in the ring, like you said, he fought some of the biggest names in the sport, the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. But I think the biggest thing was for those fights, for Mayweather, he took 30,000 Brits over to Vegas to support him. For the Pacquiao fight, even after he'd lost to Mayweather, he was still able to take over 20,000. British boxing in this country at the minute, sometimes we can struggle to get 20,000 people into an arena. He was able to take that many people over to America to support him. So I think that's his legacy. I don't think we've really seen a British fighter kind of supported to that level ever since then. And I think that's what people will remember him for.
Do you think, I mean, just with his, before when he retired, was he celebrated enough by the British boxing fans and the world, as it were, since he was an iconic figure in the world of boxing?
Yeah, I think British fans absolutely adored him. We've probably had more talented fighters than Ricky that weren't as celebrated. Maybe they were better than Ricky, they were more talented, maybe achieved more, but Ricky just had something where he really connected with fans. And, this afternoon here in the UK, we have a big football match between Man City and Manchester United. And the coverage before the game was talking about Ricky Hatton because he was a big Manchester City fan, because they know it resonates with so many people in this country. So in the UK, he was always very highly thought of. And, I'm in boxing circles myself, and I've spoken to people across the pond today who are really shocked at the news and sad because they didn't necessarily support Ricky Hatton like we did, but they could appreciate what he was and the heart that he brought to the ring every single time.
What do you think set him apart from an average boxer? I mean, as you say, that he was quite popular with the British boxing fans.
I think because it's a style that anyone can take to. You don't have to know an awful lot about boxing to be able to enjoy his style. The likes of Mayweather, they're amazing, they're technical, they're brilliant, but sometimes it's the hardcore fight fan that maybe knows what they're watching that might enjoy Mayweather more. With Hatton, anyone could enjoy them. You could go down the pub, you could get people that weren't interested. I always go back to the Mayweather-Hatton fight. I actually watched that fight with both my parents. So that kind of speaks to the fact that they were interested in it and they were willing to watch it because Ricky had a fan-friendly style. So I think that's why people sort of really, were able to take to him, because he always tried to go after his opponent and never tried to, sort of make it technical. He was always there to go for the finish. And
I understand that from if you read his book, he was one of the people. So a lot of British boxing fans or just ordinary Brits could identify with him as a boxer, but also as a human being.
Absolutely, yeah, because I think a lot of, celebrities and famous people, they obviously don't mix in circles with kind of the average Joes. But Ricky Hatton quite famously would, win a fight, finish a fight camp, and then the first thing he would do would go back to his local pub, back to his local community, and he'd be in the bars. And, even to this day, I was actually quite fortunate, completely by chance. A couple of months ago, I was on holiday in Portugal, and there was someone being stopped every 5 yards for pictures by people, and it was Ricky Hatton himself. And even then, he would stop, he would talk to people, he wouldn't kind of, take a picture and move on as quick as he could. He didn't have security around him. He just had friends around him that would, mix with the groups of people that they were meeting. And he was just always someone that never was too far away, despite the fact that he was always a big personality and a big name.
Jamie, unfortunately, we have run out of time, but thank you so much for taking this time to speak to us and paying tribute to a great legend. Jamie Bourne, British boxing journalist and podcaster, just paying tribute to Ricky Hatton, who sadly passed on earlier today at the age of 46.